Hi everyone, welcome to the community stream. Can you hear me? Um, as usual, we will wait a bit for more people to join, but I can see myself on the different screens where I should be able to see myself. So it seems like, can, uh, yeah, can you guys in the chat let me know if you can hear me well, if everything is fine, and if that's the case, then we will be able to start. We have a lot of things to talk about and a lot of good news to share today with some rather interesting developments that we're quite happy to share with you. So, yeah, let's just wait a few seconds more, a few minutes maybe to get a few more people to come in, and then we will be discussing all of that. Yeah, let me set up the last details for the fight night in the meantime. Okay, so for the moment, I'm simply waiting to see if I can get a few more information to share with you as well today. I also need to restart this window because it's not showing the chat at all. Now it's working. Okay, guys, I'm taking for granted that you can hear me. We will be starting the fight night as always with the easy/normal mode, and then we will move to the advanced and hardcore one. But as I said, we have quite some surprises for you today. So during the break between the easy and normal fight and the other one, I will be sharing some stuff with you. That's the point. I will be sharing some exclusive things with you. So, in the meantime, let's start the stream for now. Let's start the fight night mostly because that's what we're talking about. Yeah, we have Trusischka first. Then we will be facing MarzooTV, Perokl. We'll have Rasan, Gorkamorka, Harigol, Bénouzette, Aniviper, Monte Cristo, and Wredny Dupek. And that should be our first 10 or so players. So I'm trying to think about where I should start with the news. The first thing first, probably, as some of you already know, we have, well, most of you would know by now, we have released last week the faction advantages. That was in the title for the stream because the stream was planned last week. Sadly, my voice was completely gone on the day the stream should have taken place, so I had to postpone. Um, and on the very next day, we're releasing the faction advantages, so I decided to postpone to this week so that I could share other stuffs with you and actually bigger stuffs. So the faction advantages, I will probably just start by this. Some people were wondering, why did we make this change? What was the point, etc. The main, well, there are two main reasons. The first one is that we always felt that it was a bit weird that there was no proper mechanic linked to the factions between one another. So now this is done. But most importantly, it opens up the possibilities to do quite a few things there. The first one, which you will see already with the next era, is that we want to have a faction war event. So the faction war will be an event similar to the Ground Show event or the Twisted Curse event, where the faction advantages are a bit stronger and a bit different and disorganized compared to usual. So the idea is that we will do that at the end of the era when there's a lot less um, um, at stakes for players. And so that's what we're going to bring in order to alternate between this event and the Twisted Curse event for the end of the era. This way, sometimes we will twist values of units and power stones and potentially artifacts, and other times we will change the bonuses of the factions to have something a bit different going on. The other thing that it allows us to do is that technically, with this change, we will be able to, for example, have achievements, for example, linked to the um, faction. So it's mostly going to be interesting for the newcomers, but that will teach them as well how to build their army, how to pick up on faction and understand a bit better what they do. Hey Scar, oh you forgot to sign up for this one. Yeah, it was a bit. It's a bit too late now for me because yeah, when we edit it midway, it basically screws up the entire order pretty much. But yeah, don't worry, there will be plenty of other community streams coming. That being said, if you want to stay for this one, you will learn some rather exclusive news, starting with the one I'm going to share right now, because I did the first small bit I wanted to do on faction advantages. So the second one is that starting tomorrow, we are moving forward. It should be tomorrow, it might be in the upcoming days, but we are moving forward with the changes to requirements in terms of artifact fragments and um, no, sorry, prismatic fragments and artifact shards for leveling up your artifacts, which means it's gonna be still a long run, but it means it's gonna be easier for people to get there. Hey, Chilius, welcome. You're joining right when we're talking about um, good news, basically. So yeah, we are going to reduce the artifacts requirements in terms of prismatic fragments and artifact shards. It's going to be different from level to level. Some early levels, like level 1 to 3, I think there's no difference. I think for level 4 and 5, there's already a small reduction. And then for level 6, 7, 8 onwards, there's a rather steep difference. So that should be easier overall. But we're also going to be offering more artifact fragments. Oh, keep saying this way. Prismatic fragments, artifact shards in the coming weeks. So as we said pretty much from the get-go, we keep an eye on the data and we keep on adapting it. And so that will be the first step in that direction. It should make the leveling of artifacts a bit less of a grind for our old school players, so they should get to at least tier 6 faster than what is currently happening. And at the same time, it should also allow for players that are not yet at the tier 5 or such to get a bit faster as well. So everyone should get a bit of a bump from that one. And that's, as I was saying, coming pretty much. I don't remember if it's, well, it's not that I don't remember, it's that I don't have the confirmation whether it's going to be tomorrow or on Monday. In terms of how strong the reduction is going to be, again, the final numbers were still tested when I last checked, but it was sorry, it's going to be roughly up to 50% for some of them, and for some others it might be just a 20% difference, etc. So it depends on the levels. Scar, you're wondering, for those of you that already leveled up to artifacts at the current requirement, would there be a return of shards? For now, it's not planned, but you also have to think about it the other way around, that you already started to pile up a bit for the next levels, which have also been reduced. So let's say you had to spend 50 prismatic fragments to level up to level 6. You are starting to look at level 7. Now level 7 is reduced. So level 7 is closer to you than it was before. Yet people that were at level 6 still need, that are level 5 still need to level up to level 6. It shouldn't be pretty much handicapping you much more than that. Now I get what you mean, that indeed there might be a loss. That's something I will need to check with the team to see if we can do something about this. But given that all the requirements for everyone will be reduced, technically, no matter where you stand, since whatever is left for you to do is also reduced, everyone is getting closer uh, to the next level, pretty much. So those that haven't, to put it in a different way, those that didn't spend any are still anyway in a situation where they will need to spend in order to start benefiting from the lower levels. Again, that's a good question, though. So I will check with the team what needs to be done there. And sorry, I'm just checking because I think, yeah, Rosarbig is our last player for this section. So I was right. Okay. Um, so yeah, I will check into it. I would guess anyway that it would only concern players that leveled up their artifacts to level 5 to level 6, sorry. So it's probably not going to be too many players, and it's probably not going to be too many prismatic fragments and artifact shards we would be talking about. But it's a good call. So I will check with the team if anything can be done on that end. It mostly depends on if we are able to um, to isolate exactly the players we're talking about. So yeah. Yeah, I mean, I get what you mean, Scar. I would assume that the feedback I will also get from there is that while what you're saying is true, technically, like if you take two players that have the same amount of shards pretty much, and one of them decided to go for the update and the other did not, it's true that the one that did will end up with less available shard to level up to the next one than the other one. But at the same time, the one that did also benefited from a stronger army sooner than the one that did not, which in turn also brings other rewards in other aspects, etc. So it's not as straightforward as it may seem. But yeah, we'll see if anything can be done on that regard indeed. Because technically, the I would feel like the main concern is that then pretty much we simply don't want to create the expectation that anytime we reduce any requirements, then the ones that already reached it ask for compensation, because the problem is that in such a game requirements will move all the time no matter what. And if we constantly, well, if we start doing a compensation for that, there will be constant request of it. And while I'll agree with you that in this case it might make sense, there will be cases where, if you reach the max of something a year ago, you benefited of the advantage for a year before we change the requirements, then there's no reason for us to give you a compensation for the fact that this requirement changed. So that's something we need to keep in mind. But yeah, I will check that with the team and come back to you guys about this. In the meantime, since we are done with the easy fight, I'm actually just going to grant the rewards. We are now able to go to the big surprise. So I'm going to be showing something to you that is pretty exclusive. before I show that to you, a bit of explanation. So I'm going to share with you a short video of the part of the new UI of the game. As you guys know, we've been working on that for a while, and the entire new UI should come early April. That's what we're looking at for now. So I'm going to share with you one aspect only, which is the game mode hub. So I will share that with you and explain it to you at the same time. But before I do, keep in mind that we are not planning to change anything to the battlefields and the fights aspects of the UI. And most of the UI you know and are familiar with is going to stay. There are specific things we're changing, and one of them is the game mode hub that we're creating, which did not really exist up until now. I'm going to show this short video. It's just a static video of how it's going to look like, and I'm going to explain a bit to you what you are seeing. So I hope you can still hear me well. Let's jump into that. And in case you cannot hear me, just let me know in the chat. Okay, so this is a first preview of the new game mode hub that we're looking at. Why do you have something like this? Pretty much so far, oh yeah, true, the video is back. So up until now, one thing that was a bit problematic for us was that different game modes were accessed from different aspects of the user interface. If you wanted to go to the journey mode, you had a tab for it. But if you wanted to go to the global raids, you did not have an actual tab for it. You had to go into another tab to then go to it. Then for other aspects, you would have um, uh, you would have other ways to go there. So what we're going to do is that, as you can see, you will have the access to Game Hub that will grant you access to all the events, all the game modes right away. Yeah, sorry, Sky. It's just that in OBS, because it's an actual video and not a static thing, it's not looping. I should have simply looped it on my side to make it a longer loop. Sorry if you feared that it was going to crash. So this is still going to be slightly improved until it's released. But the idea mostly, as you can see, there's an empty space on the top, and the idea is to be able to expand on it. Anytime we are adding a new game mode, all we have to do is to expand the map and get the new game mode added there. We tried to make it so that the places where the game mode takes place actually makes some form of sense, like the clan raids being in this kind of town hall to some extent. So we tried to keep that. We also tried to give it a um, slight Viking design. First of all, because it fits a bit the game, obviously, but also as a tribute to Traplight and where they came from. So that's roughly what we're looking at. So that's what I can show you today. But this is just part of the UI changes we're doing. With the next community stream, I will be showing to you guys the battle reports, because one thing with one thing when we do the UI change is that we will also integrate battle reports. So when the battle is over, or even on auto spin mode, if a battle is over and you want to go and see some stats, you will be able to see some stats about the game. I will be able to show you that with the next stream. And with the last one before release, because the next stream is already next week, but with the last one before release, I will show you another part of the UI that we're changing. But yeah, the idea is that for the main game aspect, you pretty much will see some interesting changes. The last I will show you will probably be the commander screen, um, which also acts as the game so place where you land, the landing page. When you start the game, you will arrive on the commander screen. Then you will have the possibility to fight right away. There will always be the PvP button elements right there, or to go to the game mode hub where, as you saw earlier, there will be all the game modes. And yeah, I will show you as well the battle reports. There are a few other things on the UI side that are going to change. I can name especially the the shop that will change as well. It will look completely different. So there are things that are changing there. I just wanted to show up a bit of that. But we're not done with the good news. So let me start this fight night and we'll be able to talk a bit about this as well. So players for the advanced hardcore mode will be, we have Gamer, King Elric, Deathly Hallows, Forain, Skarsgård, Nicholas, Zoyos, Chilius, Trashly, Unscorched as our first 10 players. Everything is ready, so let's go with it. In the meantime, I'm quite happy that you think it looks neat, Scar. Um, we've been working for a long time on this UI change. We are quite happy about it. We know that for um, seasoned players, it will need some getting used to. And the good news for that is that we will give you the option to switch between the old and the new UI for a certain time, not forever, because the problem with this is that there's a point at which we kind of need. Sorry. So yeah, there's a point at which we need to um, only switch to the new UI, because otherwise any new feature we would release would need to be done on the two UIs and any element, etc. And that would quickly be a mess. But at the beginning, the plan is that you will be able to switch back and forth between the old and the new UI to get yourself used to it. More than likely, what will happen is that you will first be on the old UI and be able to trigger the new one. Then, after, I don't know, several weeks, we will move to when you launch the game, you're on the new UI and you can switch back to the old one if you want. And then we'll get completely to the new UI. The other benefit of going it this way is that if there's any bug that we couldn't foresee, any issue that did not pop up in the tests on the test environment, then it's not that much of a problem. The time for us to fix it, the game is not going to be locked or whatever. You can switch back to the other UI, get things going, and we can fix it on the side. So that's going to be a big change for everyone and something we are highly working on. Um, Sky, you're saying it's always good to see, especially with you being the newer team taking over the game. It helps show the additional development and the team views for the game. Yeah, thank you. That's definitely the case. I think we're finally entering the part where we can display bigger stuffs and do bigger stuffs for the game. It took us way longer than expected, mostly for two reasons. One of them was that we didn't expect to have that many um, things we needed to update on the backend side to do what we wanted to do. And the second thing is that we had some issues with the game we needed to sort on the game design side in order to go with what we want to do. But the good news is now we can move with bigger features. The UI is one of them, but most importantly, and that's what I wanted to talk about as well today, is that 2025 is the year of the clan wars. I can finally say it. And at the moment, our plan, give you some more details, is that we will go with a rather simple version of the clan wars which will allow us to release it without having to wait 6 or 9 months or whatever. And then we will build on this system to add other layers on top of it. The idea pretty much is to do the opposite of what we've done with the global red boss, where we released it with the things we wanted to include, and then we had to firefight to fix tons of aspects of it, but all the technical aspects we had in mind were there from the get-go, and we only added, leaderboards and stuff like that afterwards. We don't really want to repeat that. So what we will do with the clan wars is that you will have an actual clan fighting mechanism. You will have, your set of rewards. You will have stuff like this. But the very first iteration of the clan war will probably be just that, and then we'll go forward. I can tell you a bit more about what's the current concept that is the most likely to happen. What we're looking at right now for the clan wars is basically you enter into a matchmaking, or you've been picked to match against another team. For the matchmaking perspective, I don't have all the details, but usually what would happen is that you declare yourself available for war during the event, or you start looking for an opponent. And so if you start looking for an opponent, you will get matched against someone. If you just declare yourself open for war and someone matches you, then you get a notification and you get going. When the fight is taking place against the other clan, you will pretty much have kind of a leaderboard looking menu with all your players on one side, all the players of the other clan listed on the other side, and you will be able as a player to attack players of the opposing side. You will have a limited amount of attacks you can launch, and in between each of the attacks on a single player, there will be a cooldown. So the idea is you cannot target one player that is a bit weak from the opponent team and just keep on spamming all your attacks on this player. What would happen is once you attack the player, there will be a cooldown. Maybe, I don't know, it can be a half an hour, 1 hour, whatever. And during that time, no one from your clan can attack that player. And same applies to you. Obviously, if you've been attacked, you cannot be attacked for a certain amount of time. And since the teammates will have limited amount of attacks and you cannot attack constantly the same players, this means you will need to sync with your team, decide who is attacking who at one point, etc. And the way to win this this clan war, this clan fight, sorry, will be that you have a certain amount of points to get. The points mechanism is still to be built, but most likely the way it looks is you have a certain amount of points for defeating an opponent, and you have a bonus depending on how strong your opponent was compared to you. So if you defeat someone that was on paper stronger than you or very close to you, you get a multiplier that is bigger than if you target the smallest account on the opposing side. These points that you are getting and the opponent team are getting will allow you to progress. If one of the teams during the fight is able to get the amount of points that was requested, they win this fight. If no one is able to do that in the time frame that was allocated, then the team with the most points is winning this fight. At the beginning, it is very likely that this will be the frame for your clan wars. Probably there will be a global um, um, there will be a global leaderboard with all the clans, obviously, because that's how you will be matched. But at the beginning, that's what it will look like. On the longer run, that's when we would add things like ways to showcase how many victories you had with your clans and show off a little. Add things like leagues systems so that the top clans are not fighting Even at the very beginning of the event, they're not fighting against clans that are way too small, etc. But those things would come probably at the second run. Before answering your questions, there's one point I need to address because it's gonna also help understanding my answers to your question. The battles will not be your usual battles. So Scar, that answers your question. It's not gonna be the same army. And the battles will be different because still looking into it, I cannot give too much details, but the idea is you still have your split screen with your two armies, but the point is not to defeat your opponents. The point will be to destroy specific items, a bit like you have on some of the journey levels. There will be actual elements you need to defend on the battlefield. Um, so that's one element. And on the most likely on the longer run, I'm not even sure, maybe that could be from the first version, but the goal on the longer run is that even the gameplay is different, meaning that it would not be passive but active, as in instead of having all your units ready from the get-go, you would start with only 2 or 3 units, and every X seconds you're getting army points, and you can pick between your other armies to go with it. The idea is to have a different gameplay. At the beginning, it is possible that we only have the kind of a tower defense mechanism that I was referring to. On the longer run, the plan is that it would potentially be an active gameplay, indeed, to differentiate it from the usual PvP. I guess, at least at the beginning, it will still be your usual units, but on the longer run, maybe that can be based on clan units. So there would be a new type of progression where within the clan, through donations and achievements in the clan wars, you unlock units that you can then use in the next clan wars, etc. So as a clan, you have to pick which units you actually want to unlock, one rather than the other, etc., for your strategy. And in this case, then the factions also become more important, etc. So the idea is to really bring a lot, but to do it step by step. So we prefer to start with your regular units, and then at one point we might switch to another type of units. And maybe by then we see as well that it's working just fine with the regular units, and it would just be confusing, and we don't go that way. But the frame, the basic frame will be there, and we want to make sure the gameplay is not the same as the regular PvP one. So that's the plan for now. And other things, that could come in the longer run would be things like, instead of just picking the opponents on a list, the opponent that you want to fight, the ideal would be that then it happens on an actual map with opponents that are yourself and your opponents, you're scattered around the map, and there are points of interest to also capture on the map, etc. So as you can see, we can build and go in a lot of different directions with this. The idea is, let's start simple with the fighting methods, a different gameplay, leaderboard, rewards, and then we start piling up, adding stuffs, etc. But yeah, that gives you an idea of what we're looking at for now. There are still some details to work on, even for this very first version. There might still be things to change, so I'm not telling you that this is exactly what's coming, but that's the best candidate we have so far and what we've been mostly looking into. There are still tons of details that we will be also checking with the community as to how often should this event run, how long should it run. Um, at the beginning, I will expect that it's going to be something that runs not too often so that we can iterate on it and fix, whatever needs to be fixed, and um, make the feature a bit more um, uh, developed, etc., with each and every version. But once it's ready there, and at least ready in its main version, we kind of need to decide how often we want it to run. If it's going to be once per season, if it's going to be twice per season? Is it going to be a 5 or 7 days event, or do we want it to be slightly shorter? One thing I can tell you is that we're not looking at it as a 1 or 2 days event. It's going to be minimum 3 days. I would expect it to be more of a 5 to 7 days event. Probably not longer than that though, because if it gets too long, there's a point where um, there's a point where other issues might arise if it gets too long. So I think we'll not keep it going for too long. But yeah, a 5 to 7 days might be something. We also don't want it to fully cannibalize other game modes, so that's why we need to make sure we have it under control. And so at the moment, I cannot tell you yet when this first version is going to be ready. But the idea is that the first iteration, we want it to be pretty much hitting the game as soon as possible. So since we are looking at early April for the UI, and after that, all the efforts, I mean, a lot of the development effort is already going to be on the Clan Wars starting this week. But starting beginning of April, all the forces, not only for the UI, but even the art and everything will be focused on the Clan Wars. So I would expect that this will come rather fast for the first iteration, and from there we will be able to build on this. Um, yeah, as I was saying last year, I know at the end of last year, a lot of people probably thought I was exaggerating when I said that pretty much now that we fixed the core issues we had analyzed in the game, we were able to finally go in a direction where most of the stuffs we'll do will be positive net for the players. But we're finally there. We're finally in a situation where the stuffs we bring should be I mean, I will never say that everyone will like it, because there will always be someone that doesn't like one of the features or one of the changes, but it's positive. Even the change that will come in the coming days to the prismatic fragments and artifact shards, etc. It's positive overall. So yeah, let's keep it that way. Let's keep going in that direction, and things should be getting quite interesting. I'm personally quite excited to see not only how the features will be in its final state, but I really want to see your reactions when things are ready, because I know how um, I know how much those events usually mean for players and how big of a difference they can make. So I'm really excited about that, to be honest. So um, talking about the wars and such, if you have any suggestions, any ideas, any clan war mechanism that you like from another game, or something you had in mind, etc., even if it's not directly related to the gameplay, even if it's just like, oh, I would love for the clan wars to allow me and my clan to have a totem of our own, or anything that you guys would be interested in, please let us know, because that's the phase we're in, where we can pitch a lot of ideas to the team, and get as many stuffs going as we possibly can. It's the good thing with such a feature, when you cut it into different smaller bits, as we are hoping to do there, is that you can also further work on it as we get going. So yeah, that's definitely something we want to get going there. Hey Shelius, did the end of season titles go away? I think you finished number one, but I don't see an option to claim the title. Yes, I will recheck, because I saw your message about that on Discord. They're still there. My gut feeling is that you might not get a notification, so you might need to go and check directly in your titles if you received it. But I will be able to tell you this actually because since you are in this uh, fight, I can simply check your the data for your account right away, and I should be able to tell you if you received it. That's the kind of magic I have access to. But they should be distributed because it's not only the title. There's also a few extra rewards you guys are receiving for being at the top, and yeah, as far as I'm aware, this is working as intended. So if it's not, then that's a problem we definitely need to sort as soon as possible because we really need that to work. So that would have been on Monday. That was the 3rd. Let's check that. There we go. Oh, you did get it. Sorry, I was checking in the meantime. Glad to see that, Chilius. Scar, simpler one that might help with clan promotion. Maybe have an effect around the banner of clan icon like you do around the profile picture when on a win streak. So the winning clan. Um, in general, yes. Oh, sorry. Yeah, your message was not over. So the winning clan of a clan war gets an addition effect for the duration of the next clan battle. In general, yes, that's definitely something would come as an addition, so that we don't focus on that first. But we want anyway to have ways for clans to show off their victories, their status, their um, you know the these elements. To me, one thing I directly mentioned to to the first thing I mentioned to the team when they were pitching those ideas to me was that with the first version where you have the two clans with the listing of the names as your kind of your hub of the event, I would love for the clans to be able to personalize that a little, their presentation, even to their opponent, just having a way to, impress your opponent. That's something I would like to have. And indeed for recruiting as well, if we can show um, the clans that have won, that would definitely be interesting. I think even when you when you tap on a clan and you want to see the main information, you should be able to see some stuffs about the clan wars because that will become the number one thing for clans, right? So we should definitely have this in there. And I know that one of the long run idea that the team had as well was to give you guys um, an actual place where that you can customize. So basically, a hall of victory or however we want to name it. And the idea is that this place could be, like I showed you the game mod up that we'll have. The idea would be imagine that when you want to enter the fight night, instead of just having a game mode, you are you see yourself inside of um, um, a castle, like the Round Table of Camelot or something like that. And there you can personalize everything with your clan, from the tables, the chairs, the all the cosmetic aspects of it um, can be personalized. And what would happen there is that you would then in here have the menus to, you know, go and see the map for the current fight night and all of that. That's an idea that I know they were looking into. with the possibility for other players to visit your castle. So if you're in another clan, you can visit and see the achievements of the bigger clans, etc. That's one thing we are considering, but that would really be like for this personally. I don't see it happening this year. A small cosmetic, as you were mentioning, yes. The big thing, like having your own part of the UI that is dedicated to your clan and stuff. That's more of a super long term goal that we would like to add because we could really um, be going full on the cosmetic aspects um, with the clans overall. So that's pretty much what we're looking at so far. Yeah. Any other suggestions? Anything else that you can think of that you would like to bring up regarding the clan wars, but also regarding anything else? Okay, so then I'm trying to think because there was a lot already that I shared today. Just a reminder for those that I know that a lot of you that are watching in replays, you only watch part of the stream. So we talked about faction advantages and what could come further from there. We talked about the new UI, the user interface, and I showed part of it. In next week's stream, I will try to show you the battle reports, and in the next stream after that, you would be able to see the commander screen. And then we talked about what we are hoping for with the clan war so far. Sky, you're saying even something like a little crown next to your personal score would probably work. Yeah, I mean, for the beginning, yes. For the beginning, we can do something very tiny, but on the longer run, we have to develop it. The way I would see it potentially is that we could extend on the current emblem of your clans. So in my case, this golden tree with the green background, or the 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 skull with the purple background for the other clans. That's something we could extend on and just change, offer more variety. And in the options you can pick from, have some that are related to clan wars winning only. So have an exclusive option that basically you can only get because you won the clan wars or something like this. So that's also something we could do. You're asking what happens with the aura range of some units like the drummer. Did you miss that in one of the update notes? Um, no, I checked and there was no changes to the drummer, to the battle drum. My belief there is that only the display has changed. I already reported it to the team, so I will recheck with them. But the effect of the aura should not be changed, as far as I'm aware. Yeah, Shelios, it should be just a visual bug. That's my understanding of it as well. But yeah, better safe than sorry. Let's make sure we check and it's only visual. But the thing is, even if it's visual, we should fix it because to me, it's not like a small glitch with an animation or something. Here, it's potentially misleading for players. So we need to get to the bottom of this one. Yeah, I mean, think about it, Sky. If it was really a balance change with Dawn, that would be so extreme that it would make the unit completely useless, right? So it's definitely something that needs to be checked, and I don't see it being something that complicated to sort, to be honest. So we'll have to we'll have to find a way to get this going. Also, something I can announce because that's been a while since there was one. We've had a bit more bandwidth with our artists, so there will be new battlefields coming. It's been a while since there was a battlefield available for players. I would assume that the first one that will come in special offers because that's been a while. But yeah, we're finally starting to get battlefields out again. It's a small thing, but it's always interesting, and it will probably be available as well on Spellwagon. I'm mentioning this because I'm not sure people spot it, but we've updated Spellwagon, so the UI of the website also changed and is a lot better now. Uh, and we are starting to add the community aspects that we wanted in there, meaning that there will be more and more news and events that will be shared on there. And we will also start sharing guides and tutorials and stuff like this, including the ones that some players did. So we'll reach out to those players and check if they are fine with us resharing their work and giving them a shout out, etc. But the idea is that we want Spellwagon to be a platform that players can go to, that is easily accessible from within the game, and is more like a usual website for all the ones that are not really into the Discord aspect. Because as much as I love Discord, we have some players that are simply not really into that, and so Spellwagon is also fitting this fitting this role pretty much. Okay, I think I didn't even check where do we stand actually in the battle. We have 18 players left only. Okay, so it's good that I check because I didn't think we were already there. So, oh, okay. You say that one day you will have all the cosmetics that require Eternite. Your RNG has been atrocious over the years for that. Um, I'm afraid that I would take the bet that you won't, simply because by definition, the point of the Eternite cosmetics is that since we are giving out Eternite in the game, it's a way to ensure that people that never want to buy anything in the game can already get a taste on what it feels to use different skins, etc. And so over time, there will be new ones that are added as well to the Eternite because once we get too many players on the old player base that have all of the Eternite cosmetics, then they have no reasons to use their Eternite. So we need to find a way to keep them going with their Eternite, and the most likely to happen would be to indeed have more Eternite element coming. Okay, have a oh you're getting to work now. Okay, good luck with that, Shelius. And yeah, we're also looking forward to the changes. That will be quite nice. So yeah, Scar, I think it will be tough to get all the cosmetics, and indeed your RNG is tough because once you get quite a few of those, it's getting a lot harder to get the ones you don't have yet. That's also by design of how the system works. Uh, but yeah, the one thing that I am quite happy with is that someone will also have the cosmetic achievements with the old mechanical versus folk one. You have 28 out of 30 for probably 20 years now. Yeah, I mean that's the thing with the odds of getting the one you want is getting smaller and smaller as you get along. And once you are 29 out of 30, it might take you even longer to get the 30th one. But then again, maybe it will take you 2 tries, because that's the beauty of probabilities, right? Um, but yeah, I was saying that for cosmetics, we also still plan to have the cosmetic achievements added at one point into the game. For now, it's really not a priority, so I don't know when that will come to play, but that's still something we plan. Um, Even with for new players, to get them into this mindset that the cosmetics are a big thing in this game. We take pride in what we're doing with cosmetics, so we should definitely try to get it there. Not when RNG Jesus hates you. So is it RNG Jesus or is it RNGesus? Should we shorten it in one word? I'm not so sure. I'm not so sure. That's a question I have to ask myself now and wonder what makes the most sense. But actually, I don't want to hear the word RNG anymore for a little while. Um, as you guys know, I'm French, and in France we had a big speedrun event on Twitch last weekend, and my wife was contributing to some of the gifts you can get when you do donations, etc., for this event. And because of that, we had the streams going on all day, all the weekend long in my house, and I heard the term RNG way too much. So I don't want to hear and talk about RNG anymore for a while. But it was quite fun. It was apparently also shared back by the guys at Games Done Quick, and it was also broadcasted by a Japanese organization for speedruns. So it was quite fun. And my favorite of the weekend was two guys actually defeating Breath of the Wild, Zelda, uh, but with one controller. So one of the guys was taking care of the direction, the other one of the actions, and they finished the game in less than 30 minutes, which I think the synchronicity you need, the synchronization you need between two people on the same controller to finish a game like that, it's kind of insane. But yeah, I mean, myself without anyone else, I wouldn't be able to do even a third of that. So that's uh that's always impressive. But yeah, anyway, too much RNG. Let's not talk about this evil word anymore. Okay, we have about 6 players to go at this point. So if you have other questions before the end of the stream, that's pretty much now, because it's gonna finish fast. Also, because I see it being mentioned, being used in this fight, I did check again with the team, and we will do something about the displacer unit. We simply still check what's the best option. Is it to give more units the immunity to displacer? Should we reduce its aura? Sorry. Should we um, should we nerf it by having a bigger cooldown in between two activations? Should we make it a higher rarity of units? There are different options, and we're studying the different ones to see what would fit, because we need to nerf it, but we also need to be sure not to nerf it so much that it becomes useless. And with this unit, it's really a case where it feels to us that it will be a bit like the wormhole. If you remember, when we released the wormhole, it was absolutely everywhere. We had to nerf it, and we nerfed it to the point where you barely see it anymore, because it was just nerfed a tiny bit too much. Um, and actually, maybe we should slightly bump it again. But yeah, that's something we always need to deal with. And with some units, when you've already been nerfing them once or twice, we get to a point where we have to be cautious. But it will come. There will be a nerf to the displacer unit. We simply are not sure yet what will be this nerf exactly. And oh, I think we're pretty much done already. Yes, those final fights were rather quick indeed. Quick indeed. Okay. Oops, I didn't have the time to get out of the fights. That's okay. So let me grant every rewards. There we go. Okay, so now that we're done with the fight night, I would like to thank everyone again for joining this stream. There was a lot of news to share. We will have some to share as well next time. Just before leaving, and for those that will just look at the last bits of the stream, let me share with you again this beautiful um, animation of what the game hub, game mode hub will look like in just a few weeks now. That's pretty much what I could share with you today. With that, we'll leave you for now. Have a wonderful evening, and yeah, I'll talk to all of you guys next week already because that will be the next stream. Thank you, and have a great evening. Bye.